All right, for the second time, always nice when it's returning guests because then we can just ask weirder questions.
Love it.
Tony Hale, how are you?
Love
we just
it,
asked
guys.
you, but I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, let's get weird, man. Love it. By the way, Barstool has the best attire. You guys sent me a sweatshirt. I wear it all the time. It's just really good.
Very good hoodies. It's like they're just very, very comforable. We're gonna just put your face on one and we'll just sell that. That'll be
no royalties.
And that is gonna make you $5.
Don't worry, you're not getting any royalties, so we get to keep a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cut to my 50-cent check.
We are going to talk. Well, why not get weird off the top? We're going to talk about a movie with a large red dog. Clifford the Big Red Dog in theaters November 12th, based off of the mascot for the Scholastic Book Fair. Also the very famous dog from the books. Live action Clifford. I mean, you've been in movies with giant things before CGI, but this is a little different. This is a bit different.
Well, I mean, Clifford, like you guys are youngins, you're babies, but Clifford started in 1963. I was born in 1970. So Clifford's kind of been around my entire life. And when my daughter was young, we had Clifford. And so it's pretty surreal to kind of be in the movie, but I get to play the bad guy. So that's fun. Like I see the magic of Clifford and I'm like, yep, I need to make profit off that. So I'm trying to take him down. So it's kind of fun to play the contrast to Clifford's love.
I love why you asked that too, because that was my first question. Was just you're playing like an evil scientist. And I was always curious: have movies and shows kind of set an unfair stereotype for scientists, where we're just constantly wary about evil scientists? Like, how many actual evil scientists can you name? I can't think of one.
I'm waiting now to be like, we're going to bring in two scientists just to kind of feel how they feel. But let's get their feedback and trauma. I know they do get a bad rap. A lot of there's certain characters that are kind of, it is true. Actually, think about we were talking about Marvel earlier. It's always kind of that scientist that made the mistake and all of a sudden they turned into some, evil figure or something. And they do get a bad rap. Lawyers get a bad rap, which, let's be honest.
That's earned. Scientists, though, they do. The scientists, they don't think they've earned such a bad rap. Again, I can name plenty of shitty lawyers. I can't name a lot of shitty bad scientists.
That's true. Cut to next week, a whole parade of scientists being like, give us our respect.
March down Broad Street. Love that.
I would love if that's the community that goes after you. Not politicians,
not PETA.
No. It's the scientists that cancel me.
Yeah, yes. We're done with this guy. Not political aides or anything. They were fine with your no, this guy.
It's the lab coat revolution.
I know. We do not hate big red dogs. Okay.
We talked about this last time with you, but obviously, and you just referenced your daughter. But being in a kids movie, you're a fork, a very playful fork.
I was. Thank you.
Your face was not the same face as the fork. However, you were still playing a good guy, but
pretty pale. That's similar.
Playing a villain, though, that's different. Do you ever does that cross your mind and worry you? Oh no, what if I'm recognized just as the bad guy now, as the evil man?
I love it because the show I do. It's called the Mysterious Benedict Society. I get to play twins and I kind of play the good version and the bad version. And I get excited when it's just kind of fun to kind of be that persona. I will say with Forky, a couple times parents have come up with their kids and be like, he voiced Forky, and the kids look at me like, that's not Forky. I don't know what the problem is. That's not Forky. So I'll send a voice memo to them from Forky and be like, hey, this is Forky. I love the movie. And then sometimes they'll send me a video of them playing the voice memo to the kid. And the kid's like, wait a second. Forky called you to tell me hi. So that's really fun. I don't think I'm going to get that from bad guys. I don't think they're going to want a voice memo from bad guys being like, hello, I'm about to take down the big red dog and have a great day.
But the fork cameo. Actually, and speaking of Forky, are they gonna have the Forky origin like they have for Buzz Lightyear now?
Ooh,
yeah.
In the plastic, just pouring the plastic.
Based on the real fork that inspired Forky in the universe of Toy Story. Yeah.
True. Oh, that needs a good name. I'm going to think about that one. There's got to be a good fork idiom. Yes, of course. You don't get to reprise it.
That would be cool, though. Those are great people to work with. Loved it.
Working around a thing that isn't there, too, though. Which... I mean, again, stuff like this isn't completely out of the norm for you. Like you've done beyond just like the normal realism, real life stuff that, you know, we all know and love, the Veeps, the Arrested Development. But is it like, does it ever not feel odd when it is something that isn't there, especially when it's like the main part of the movie in this sense, like it's the dog?
Do you know what's weird is I think being a really kind of spastic, needy kid and being an actor, you get kind of used to talking to things that aren't there. Like just like being in your room, like doing voices and be like, well, this is what I would say. And like if a bully made fun of me, I'd turn around and be like, well, that wasn't very nice. It's just like, you just kind of create, as a kid, I just kind of created my world around me, like talking to things that weren't there. So it doesn't feel odd. And actually the gift that this movie gave to us was they had in the middle of New York, they had these big red puppets.
I remember the pictures.
Oh, did you? Yeah. And we look at it. And what was the gift of that is, you know, typically with special effects, it's like, all right, here's a tennis ball and then there's a big monster. And you kind of have to imagine the scope. But with the puppets, you could see the scope of Clifford. So you could see the size, which really helped our eye line and helped kind of what we were looking at.
Oh, that's interesting. That is actually a good point. Actually, once again, you're segueing all of my questions perfectly. I mean, I appreciate you for that. I was going to ask you just straight up, how big does Clifford get? Because that has been a big source of contention online. Like they watch the trailer and they're like, yeah, he looks too small. Other people are like, hey, he looks too big. How big are we going to see Clifford get?
It's a great question that I don't know the answer to. I would say, well, I'm trying to think of he's probably, I would say he's a good 10 to 12 feet.
10 to 12 feet lengthwise or
tall?
Or height? Okay.
And then probably like width, I don't know, maybe the same. He's a big puppy.
We'll just misquote you and say that you said he's the size of the Empire State Building or something. Okay, and like,
let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. And then just get all the Paramount lawyers on me.
Yes, exactly. How do you feel personally? And this is something I've always been passionate about in a sense, is how do you feel about naming dogs human names? Because Clifford might be the least dog name you could possibly have. It is an extremely human name.
It is. However, I'm coming from a place that my puppies are named Walter and Francis.
Oh, that's even more. That's more human than possible. I know. Can't even get more human.
They just feel like an old married couple in my house, and I like it. If we have another one, I'm thinking about naming her Dolores,
Barbara.
I don't know. I just think it's funny. But like, I grew up and like my puppies were like Tuffy, and you know, all these kind of like Pepper Spike, or something kind of. Yeah, exactly. But then it's like, I think maybe we just gave them more human traits. I don't know. Do you have puppies?
I got a cat sitting over there. His name is Momo. So that's about as anti-human as you could get. Unless you know someone named Momo, in which case
do you like the Museum of Modern Art?
Momo.
Momo.
Not Moma.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
This is my cat Guggenheim. I just love this guy.
Wow, you really like art, man. That's great.
You've been walking into the Museum of Modern Art for years, just saying Momo, and they're like, this guy just keeps saying.
I don't fucking know this.
And then you like bring in another dog, and it's like, this is the Natural History Museum right here.
It's like, yeah, not even like a name or an acronym, just like the full museum name.
My dog's named after an alcoholic beverage, so it's a much different mimosa. So very
wine
small.
Cooler. Oh, a mimosa.
So wine cooler.
Hard seltzer. That's just very generic. We're waiting for the sponsor. Yeah.
Hey, hard seltzer. Come here, hard seltzer.
Actually, lager would be a cool name for a dog or like a dog or a cat.
That would be a cool name.
Kind of like that.
Actually, do you like mimosas?
Yeah.
You just thought it was nice.
Yeah, it just fit. Very small Shih Tzu.
Oh, okay.
Very just like calm, small Shih Tzu. Yeah, so it just fit.
That name never stops being funny to me when someone says Shih Tzu. It just never stops being funny.
And once you spell it, you do feel very smart. Like once you know that it is 2 words, I guess. Two names.
Oh,
double.
Yeah,
names.
hyphen right or
There's
something.
Space. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot
space.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did not know that.
I just read a list of top beers of the year, and it noted that seltzers didn't count. I was like, yes. Thank you. I would assume.
Genius.
But everybody's got one now. Did you see that SNL sketch about the seltzers and them just like naming like John Deere has a seltzer, or like everybody has a seltzer now?
Well, also actors, like celebrities have food products too. Are you like, you need to get into you need to have your own like, actually Barstool, and this is, I guess it sounds like an ad, I'm sure, but we just launched, we sell food now, like out of Ghost Kitchen. So I don't know what you need to have a thing.
Tony Hale.
Like a burger or something.
Yeah, because quirky sidekicks can really sell products.
Forky is literally built into this. You can make a food. This is all true. It all comes together. There's synergy there.
Also, tableware.
If you did
tableware at Target.
If you did a Buster Bluth spin-off food, it would have for at least a little while. There'd be this line in New York, and people they'd be in their cutoffs, and they'd be showing up in their blue paint and everything, and they'd be lining the streets.
There is some food associated. What did he have? He wanted pancakes, or this is where my memory sucks. He ate something, or he liked to eat something. Well, there's obviously the bananas. Yeah. But it's like, I guess I can't market bananas. Just put my face on it.
But they when you guys came out with the new season, when it came back on Netflix, I remember there were banana stands all over the city. So
yeah. There were. It was good marketing.
Everywhere. Clifford again out November 10th. Also, I don't know why it makes sense, and I can't explain it, but John Cleese being associated with Clifford is one of those castings, maybe because and this is no disrespect to his career, but I always think of him, because I grew up with this movie, I always think of him in The Great Muppet Caper, as Miss Piggy manages through his house. And they're just talking about a pig scaling the walls of their mansion, but maybe just something about large, just like Muppets and just cartoon characters that I just associate John Cleese with the most.
See, I associate with Monty Python, of course,
right?
Because that was kind of
the way more reasonable association.
But like, it was so like that. I just, his subtlety, even though it was like this broad, crazy story, just had this like these turns and these subtleties, and so it was pretty. One day we went in the van to the set, and I just felt like I looked like a crazy person. I was just staring at him. I was just like, he was like, "All right, settle down, man." I was like, I just didn't know what to say. Like,
does he have the best British accent out of anyone you've ever worked with?
And so comforting. I mean, I don't know if in the trailer he just has this like, everything's going to be okay in his British dialect, and you're just like, okay, let's go another day.
And a notably tall human, right? He's a very tall guy.
Very tall, very sweet. And so, I mean, it makes sense.
There is, 10th. Yes. And there is another 10th. Movie we definitely need to talk to you about, and it's Being the Ricardos because we are super excited for that. Both of us are.
So am I.
You get to play Jess Oppenheimer in that, and obviously the I Love Lucy showrunner. Also, I was reading about him. He invented the teleprompter. Like, I had no idea. Yeah. That's crazy.
He did. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just gonna ask, like, how aware of his work were you going into this project? Like, where you get to play him, which is awesome.
You know, I mean, it was one of those things where I mean, it's Aaron Sorkin and Nicole Kidman's playing Lucille Ball, and Javier Bardem's playing Desi, and you know, there are times when I'm on set and I'm like, oh, which one of these is not like the other? Like, why was I invited to this party? But I was so grateful to be there, and just because Aaron, you know, I think as an actor, you kind of have many times, especially when you're dealing with a time period, you'll have an idea of what that time period is, like old time, like, hey kid, like just, and obviously ring-a-ding-ding, you know, and obviously we would never do that. But Aaron always grounded it. He was like, okay, hey, this is a drama about the making of I Love Lucy. You know, there was a lot of chaos and she went through a lot as being a woman in the business at the time and heading up a show, and a lot of stuff with her husband, Desi, and really getting to the humanity of it and my relationship with Lucille, because we had a show before I Love Lucy called My Favorite Husband that we did together. And so it was really cool just to kind of have that taste of a little behind the scenes. And they recreated the set for the movie. So it was like, I grew up on I Love Lucy. And so it was just that sense of, I cannot believe, it feels like we're sitting in the set. That was pretty nuts.
Speaking of Sorkin too, I'm looking at your filmography here. I actually initially clicked on Aaron Sorkin's filmography, and I'm reading, I'm like, wow, you were in a lot of Sorkin movies. That's just his filmography. It's like you were in Molly's Game and Steve Jobs. I don't remember that. This has to be. Tell me there was no fatter script than an Aaron Sorkin script. That has to be the largest script you've ever received.
Well, I don't know about larger, but definitely like he is a wordsmith. Like he just like spends so much, which you should. I mean, to make a good script, you have to spend time with it. But the language and for each word and the respect given to each word, because he's also a playwright, and so it's just that sense of he really. The value of, because many times, not many times, but a lot of times it's just, there's a lot of encouragement of kind of making it your own. The script, I mean, you follow the script, but like with this, we were all very respectful what's on the page and the time he put into it. And there was a real meaning for everything. So it felt like doing a play. It was really cool.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because you've been in so many comedies, and to your most iconic characters are comedic characters, but like, was there ever a point where you're like, do I even dare go off script for this comment? Because you like you said, like when you hear Sorkin, you think of words. That's what
think of words.
Comes to mind.
Yeah. And also, I mean, obviously he's an incredible director, but the funny thing is, I don't know about there was a lot of he was always very open to conversation. It's just kind of like the questions of where's this coming from. But there was never really a desire to go off the page, because I think with comedy, there's like, hey, let's think. With Veep, it was like, let's figure out alts and let's see what's working and the physicality. But with this story, he had done so much research, you never really wanted to veer off that page, so that didn't come up much.
He's a fascinating guy. I mean, even just before this interview and like when we were making like all of our questions for all this, like I was just reading more about Oppenheimer. He's just a fascinating dude. And I think like because you've been in so many sitcoms, like Jeff was saying before, like obviously Arrested Development, Veep, 2 of the best sitcoms of the last 20 years. Do you think that without Jess Oppenheimer's show or like I Love Lucy, sitcoms like Arrested Development or Veep would even exist?
I mean, yeah, I think there was a lot of kind of controversy that they kind of say in the movie at the time with I Love Lucy. And I think that with comedy, there's always that sense of like, hey, not pushing the line, but just like taking risks. There's a lot of truth and life that can be shown through comedy because there's an easy transition because you're laughing at it. And you even take something like Arrested Development. For the time, you really rarely saw like dense comedies. So it was always kind of a very similar format. And Mitch always pushed and was like, and the layers of jokes, like Tobias as the blue man and, all these layers, and he really pushed. And then it became more familiar to have more dense comedy. So I think each time, just like I Love Lucy, they were always kind of trying to take risks.
Push the boundaries. Yeah. You have another movie coming out soon. I think a different group of people are excited for both of these projects. Hocus Pocus 2, which is recently announced. Yeah. And a lot of people are very, very pumped out about
just started,
about this.
Right?
You guys just started up?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about it or the people about it?
I just started. So it's like, I'm kind of thrilled just to be there. We're shooting next week. And, that's kind of a Halloween cult classic and just to have, I actually worked with Kathy Najimy on Veep. She was Mike McClintock's wife, and she's lovely and so much fun. So I'm excited about seeing her again. And then, my very first TV gig, I did commercials in New York for a long time. My very first TV moment was Sex and the City. Mm-hmm. And I was playing Tiger, the photographer's assistant. And I was so nervous. And so, I didn't even meet Sarah when I was on that show. So it'll be fun to kind of work with her and Bette Midler. Those are just, those are people that just to have that opportunity is exciting.
I forgot she's Mike's wife. Oh, what? Endless storylines in that show. Am I gonna have to rewatch Veep soon? Like, I feel like I hit my limit. It's like, all right, well, I'm not gonna rewatch Veep after the finale for a while, but now it's like, may have to.
That finale was intense.
Oh yeah,
incredible,
awesome,
incredible. Audience questions. We have 3.
Okay.
This one is less of a question, but somebody wanted to know about other famous Tonys. But I found it interesting. I looked up there's a website called ranker.com where people upvote and downvote famous people. There's always different categories.
What if mine is just like down.
No, yours.
Down.
I want you to comment on your spot in this famous Tony's lineup. Okay. There's 5 Tonys ahead of you.
Okay.
5. Hawk. Fair.
Makes tracks.
Danza.
Oh, totally tracks. I grew up on. I mean, those was all the '80s sitcom.
Romo.
Okay. Yeah. Could never do what he does.
That's
He could never do what you do either. I've seen his commercials.
Shalhoub.
Oh man, have you seen The Marvelous Miss Maisel? He's great.
Oh, he's incredible.
But he's also Monk. Like his Monk. I mean, do you remember Big Night? Like he's just like, I don't ever want to be in front of him.
The last one is Tony Goldwyn, and then it's you.
Oh sure, Tony Goldwyn. He's a scandal.
Played a president. Yeah, he put up.
Yeah,
but behind
he's a really
you,
nice guy actually. Okay,
behind you, Tony Parker, multi-time.
You're like behind you, Tony the Tiger.
Tony? I mean, actually, by the way, yes.
Yeah.
Which actually, I almost would argue Tony the Tiger probably could have been number 1, but that's
It should have been above Tony Hawk.
Tony Parker, multiple NBA championships, multiple. Tony Bennett.
Oh, that's not right. That's not right.
Do the Tonys have to come together? Tony Dorsett and then Tony Blair. Tony Blair is just. I feel like Tony Blair should be falling down the list.
He didn't even want to be on that list. But Tony Bennett, like that's like skyrocketing above Tony Hawk. Like that should be way up there.
Tony Bennett, who definitely listens to this podcast, absolutely. Yes. He's gonna phone Lady Gaga and be like, we got to get back together. I need to.
He's infuriated.
Got to get my scale up.
Another one of our users wanted to ask you, just rank the members of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Rank the members of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Could you throw out some names?
Okay.
You were in, and obviously the reference you were in. Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy. Yes. Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Ron White.
Okay.
This is what happens when we ask our audience for questions, by the way.
Hold on. So you got Larry the Cable Guy, Jeff Foxworthy, Bill
Engvall, and then Ron White.
And Ron White. I'm going to just go start with Bill alphabetically. And then we'll go to what's next? Jeff, Larry, and then what was the last one?
That'd be Ron White. Yeah, nailed it.
Ron. Great.
So Tony Hale says Bill Engvall, the best Blue Collar Comedy Tour member. It's on record.
We're talking alphabet, guys.
So this last one here, last audience question. This is usually reserved for Wes Anderson, not him. We've never interviewed him. But usually it's a question about Wes Anderson, but unless you've been in a Wes Anderson movie and I'm not aware.
Oh my God, I would love to be.
I feel like you will be. I don't know why.
You seem like a guy he'd like.
Cut to my deathbed and being like, but Jeff said so.
They want to know what Zachary Levi smells like, as you have worked with Zachary Levi.
How does that have to do with a Wes Anderson?
Well, no,
we always ask what Wes Anderson smells like. Yeah.
But I will say, if you want to,
I see what you're saying.
We could have the most boring white paint interview of all time. People who just don't they're not giving us any, which just actually doesn't happen often at all. But like, no matter what, if we get to the Wes Anderson question, it's like something comes over people and they start saying words I didn't know exist when they're describing.
It's like a soliloquy.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, yeah. So how does Zachary Levi smell? Oh my gosh, just joy. No, I would say a mix of lemon and Dracar Noir.
Ooh.
And some rosemary and a touch of Polo.
I love that because that's much more in line with that. Because like the descriptions we get for Wes Anderson are usually like sandalwood and Burberry soap, like these crazy great descriptions. And it's like, yeah, no, this guy's Polo and Dracar Noir, yeah, for sure.
And I would maybe throw a little bit of like food court Sparrow pizza in there.
I'm putting that. That's going to be on the quote card. That's for sure.
Good.
One of the last things we want to do with you is the Hale quiz. So I wrote a little quiz about you for you to answer.
Okay.
It's going to get easier to harder.
So this is bringing me shame.
Yes.
But you've now mentioned both times talking to us that you have a horrible memory with all of your projects. So this,
I do.
Interesting. Okay, so your first question: who's Buster Bluth's father?
Oscar.
Okay, good. That's a hot start. Again, they're going to get harder. In what movie did you voice a pope?
Wait, hold up. Wait, I voiced a pope?
You voiced a pope. You did.
Can you give me the pope's? Can you give me the last name?
I think it was like something the third, if I remember correctly. I'll give you a hint. It's it's based off a very famous I think play by Dante Alighieri.
Wait. Is Hell in the title?
Dante's Inferno. You were close.
Oh, Dante's Inferno.
Inferno and Hell. Yeah, you're almost there. What's Gary Walsh's alma mater?
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no! You did answer. I will say you answered the rest of it. If you had not answered the Oscar Bluth,
if I had not got that would have been rough.
We might have had to have pulled the plug on this. Yeah,
that would have been good. All of a sudden, the earphones just come out. What's his alma mater?
Prestigious school, upstate New York. I'll give you a hint there.
Poughkeepsie Community College.
Cornell for
Cornell.
Yeah,
great.
Okay,
that's cool.
Back to Blue Collar Comedy Tour. Who directed Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector?
You know what? Actually, I think his name was Walt.
Trent. You were
Trent. Yeah.
Yes, Trent Cooper.
Right.
He didn't have a Wikipedia entry, so I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a tough one, probably."
He's a really, really nice guy, actually.
Actually, okay. So here's your last one. This is the hardest one, but you've actually already answered one of these questions just by talking to us.
Right.
In 2001, you had spots in Sex and the City, The Sopranos, and Dawson's Creek. Name two of those three characters that you played.
Come on, man.
You just named one earlier.
Oh, that's right, Tiger.
Yeah.
Is that a first role thing? Is that why you just you'll never forget that?
Yeah. And then I was a nurse oncologist in The Sopranos. Does it have a name? Did I have a name?
It was Nurse something.
Oh, Nurse. Okay, let me think about the Dawson's Creek one. I was a doctor in that.
Yes.
Dr. Dawson.
Dr. Bronin. It was very close.
Oh, Dr. Creek.
It was Nurse Collins, by the way, in Sopranos. RN or OCN Collins.
I was so nervous because I was given Uncle Junior chemotherapy, and I remember I had to do all the tubes and stuff or make it look like I was taping to his arm. And my hands, because my nerves, when I get nervous, my hands will shake, and my hands were just shaking. And I was like, "Oh, this is good." A nurse oncologist giving the hands are shaking violently. That tracks.
All right, we got one last thing that Jeff's got for you right now.
Last thing before we let you go, reminder, Clifford, November 10th. Our next interview we're doing next week, we're also interviewing somebody with the same last name as you. So no context.
Oh, no Lucy context. Hale?
No context.
No, we're not giving you anything. No context.
It's not like your last name's Smith, so it's not like you have to roll. Like it's like a crazy Rolodex of name that it could be, but no context question that we will have you ask right now that we will ask someone else named Hale
next week.
Do people always think you're related to Nathan Hale?
Ooh, okay. That's good. I like that.
Is that something you get often?
Yeah. People ask if I was related or if I was related to Nathan Hale or Alan Hale on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, interesting.
You have to say yes to that, right?
That would make more sense, I think, than the Nathan Hale one.
Yeah. And I'm like, where's my cash?
Still waiting for the advance.
Yeah. So I definitely get those two questions.
Okay, good. We're gonna ask maybe we'll get a yes, and they'll be like, "We have it." This person be like, "I have the cash." Actually, that's me.
Is it Lucy? Because that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, it's Lucy.
I met her once. She was very sweet.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Awesome.
I just figured. Yeah, it's a lot. It'd been easier if it was a more common last name.
I know. We're unique.
Clifford the Big Red Dog, November 10th. Thank you. Anything else you want to besides you being obviously a mad, I mean, do you want to apologize to scientists? Like, is there anything about the movie though, before we go here?
Thank you. I apologize to scientists. And it really is. It's having a kid. It's really, finding family entertainment, especially with what we've been through. I'm excited. Like, it's something that's really fun and really, not to sound cliche, but something the family can go see and just have a good time. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely a blast again having you back. Maybe we'll
so
see
fun.
you in person next time we talk. So
what?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I want the swag. I want the sweatshirts.
That's
all that.
You will send you out like 8 bags of stuff. Hard seltzers. We have. I won't say the brand, but we have a brand.
Let's settle. I don't need the hard seltzers.
We have a brand's discontinued hard seltzer sitting on our kitchen. It's still good, but we can walk you out with like 20 boxes of that if you want it.
I never say no to free.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you again.
Great talking
to see you again too.
Have
a good one.